Welcome to the Necronama.com, where we're spending all of October looking at 31 episodes of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. Today, we're looking at Treehouse number 10 from Halloween, October 31st, 1999. I'm James Sabata.
I'm Don Guillory.
And I'm Thomas Brungardt.
And we're still here. How many days have we been here now?
It's been too long.
It all runs together.
After this one, it might be one day too many.
Oh, man. Don, you want to kick us off on this one?
Yeah, of course. Today we're talking about Treehouse of Horror number X. As I've had to explain to my child so many times. When she sees the letter, I was like, those are Roman numerals. That's the only way that you'll be able to tell what year movies were made in. But
Rocky V, that was the fifth one.
Yeah. Not to be confused with that nobleman, Malcolm the 10th. But anyway, in this episode, of course, of Treehouse of Horror, there are three different stories. The first one being "I Know What You Diddly-Idddily-Did." Basic summary is the family's driving out and accidentally run over Flanders, killing him, and that's kind of when all the hilarity ensues because they're so concerned about covering up his death until they find out that it was actually a blessing in disguise that they did it. So, what do you guys think about this one? I mean, it's another Flanders is a bad guy type story.
It's the constant going back and forth, too, where sometimes Flanders wins and sometimes the Simpsons win.
What's the kill count on Flanders at this point? It's got to be at least like 6
We're going to reveal that tomorrow.
Oh, damn it.
Because that involves research time. I
did skip one thing. It's of course another parody, and this one is a parody of the "I Know What You Did Last Summer" film. Not, of course, the second one with Jack Black pretending to be a white Jamaican. But I will never forget that.
Better than a luchador.
Well. Yeah. His caricatures of culture are not good. But yeah, it's based off the Jennifer Love Hewitt teen horror movie where they run over a guy because they're out drinking and doing young teenage stupid things. And they all decide instead of doing the responsible thing and reporting the incident, they dump the body. And that's pretty much what goes on here is the Simpsons decide to get rid of Ned's body.
Would you contact the authorities and tell them
that you killed him?
Yeah, would you do it?
No, I know for a fact I would hide the body.
Yeah, so would I. And Don's black, so I got to assume he's not calling the cops. But,
no. Hey, I just found this guy here. But then again, I've seen a good number of I found this guy here, I found this girl here movies where the person finding the body was a black person, and it didn't always end well for them. So yeah, I'm on the fence.
Really? I'm surprised.
Huh.
I don't know. It's just like what James said. I don't know that you'd want to call the cops.
There is more of a likelihood that I would sing "Guess I Forgot to Put the Fog Lights In" to the tune of Golden Crisp. Then there is that I would call the police.
I was thinking about that scene today because I ordered some fog lights.
Well, no, the two of you bring up a very important thing about this. I mean, whether it's brought up in the film or this parody of the film, that idea of no one else is around. So
what would you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like I guess play on the whole. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, did it actually make a sound? Was there an actual crime committed or negligence committed?
But why take the body with you leave the body. He's on a fog walk. Who cares?
Well, and that's the other thing. Like,
As so many people are.
Is someone really going to be able to trace it to you?
Well, tire treads. I don't want to bring up My Cousin Vinny again, but there are ways to find out and link that car to Homer.
Well, or at least to find out if the car had positronic.
But they do have terrible
traction.
They don't have the best police force in Springfield, so I guess it would have been wouldn't have been a good little story had they just left the body and that was the end. Flanders is dead again.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you. I think the police force in Springfield is fine, except for the guy in charge. The other two seem like they're actually pretty decent officers. Well, they just get overruled.
That's true. I mean, I like that they took the body because my favorite part of this bit is like the Weekend at Bernie's aspect of Homer miming Ned.
Oh my God.
So on the roof and like trying to, and I think at this point Maude had a different. It didn't sound like Maude. It sounded like a different voice because they hadn't killed her off yet, but she was on the way out, and that whole scene is just funny to me where they're on the roof and he's trying to stage his death and she misses it and he's just like, damn it,
I love the line, but when I do die, I don't want any autopsies. Such a fantastic line.
Yeah, that bit, and when they get the call and they're like, "Oh, we know what you did," in like the very "I know what you did last summer," or like when a stranger calls kind of thing, and it's just Mo saying like, "I know you're alone" to Maude. It's very on brand for Mo.
Oh yeah.
But overall, like I was really disappointed with this episode because, like you said, it's number 10. It's the 10th anniversary, and at this point, it was still just the Halloween special. And you would think that they would go a little bit more out there with it, but it just kind of fell flat for me.
I think I would have actually. This is the first time I'm going to say this. This is the one skit that I think would have been fun as a full episode.
Yeah,
I think Homer trying to get Maude to see the death is hilarious. And there's so many different things you could have done with this. I think it's the joke that keeps giving. I don't know what the side stories would be to make it work, but this is the only one I've ever wanted to see stretched out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think there's a lot there. I would love to see like a full length horror. I mean, more so than like the ones they've done, like the Rear Window episode they did and stuff like that. This one would be fun, but it would be totally strange to do a whole episode on Flanders being dead, right? How do you write your way out of that one? Other than him being a werewolf.
Wasn't dead the whole time, but
well, they had one where an alligator was dead the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. Or the one where Burns, Smithers thought Burns was dead, and he turns him into a marionette, and then like the jostling of the string starts his heartbeat again. That wasn't a Treehouse of Horror. That was an actual episode.
Of course it was. There's nothing creepy about that. Even if this skit was twice as long and I didn't have to sit through the Xena shit you're going to make me talk about in a minute, I would have been okay with that. But going back to this, I mean, I agree. It's the 10th one. I'm expecting something better than what we got. And I really feel like we kind of hit this lull at this point where they don't really know what they're doing with this. And it becomes really apparent when we get to Whiz Kids. I'll have a lot to say about that. But I feel like the writers are just phoning it in at this point. They're like, oh, we got to do a Halloween episode. And I feel like you can sense the ones where they were excited to do one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like we have that here. And that's sad.
Well, for me, like, this is when they started bringing in a ton of just cameos and like random celebrities to like pad the episode, like the whole Lucy Lawless thing. And it's just, it gets away from the spirit of it all just to have celebrity cameos and have them play their like character. It's not fun. It's just like, oh, look who we got this week.
Don, do you have anything to add to this one?
No, the only other thing I have is that what's a cool throwback to teen horror itself is when Homer has this idea of like, hey, these are the places we can hide. Marge, go to the amusement park, the abandoned amusement park. Lisa goes to the pet cemetery. Bart, for some reason, goes to the roller disco, and then Homer delicately puts it, I'm just going to go out here where those teenagers died, out at the lake. Like it's like all these places that you would typically associate with a horror film, or at least teen horror and teen slashers, and it's just kind of like right there in your face. The other thing is, Flanders does this transition or transformation into the werewolf, and we don't see kind of the normal transition where his clothes get ripped off, but he still has his trademark green sweater and the mustache.
It's hilarious that he has the mustache.
That's how you know it's Flanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's such a weird thing to mix this with. Like going from I Know What You Did Last Summer to werewolves. Like I don't know where the thought process on this was, but it really doesn't work as an overall plot for me. I really like trying to get Maud to see him die. That's the funny part of this. But I feel like this could have been two different things, right? Like the Ned thing and this, but it is what it is, I guess.
Well, do you want to get into the comic book hero?
Okay, so I'm bashing this, but I don't actually hate it that much. So Desperately XEEKING XENA. Let's see. So basic superhero plot: due to a crazy accident, Bart and Lisa become Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl. They get superhuman abilities. Then they hunt down the Collector, who has taken Lucy Lawless. And we just get a lot of jokes of, I'm not Xena, I'm Lucy Lawless. Let me start with what I love about this episode, and it's Bart. Bart is so true to who Bart is. If you gave Bart Simpson superpowers, he does those things in this episode. The only thing he doesn't do is go full-on crazy-ass villain, which I would expect. But, like, rather than just helping people, he's pulling pranks. That's so Bart. Like, he stretches his arm and knocks on the door to confuse Skinner. You know, that's what I love about this part. But overall, it's one of those that's like a light giggle to me, and then I move on. So I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it. What do you guys got?
I was going to say the same as you. There's not much to this one that worked for me. The only thing I can think about is the same thing I typically think about with superhero stuff like this, where there's an accident that causes someone to get superpowers, which is what superpowers would you want to have, or how would you even use these? Because with Bart, it's obvious what he's going to do, and it's great that they do that for him, which is nothing changes for him. You know, it's not a situation where it's kind of like, oh, I've got super strength and I'm going to, whatever, I'm going to stop crime. It's simply, how can I have fun with this thing? What I like. What would work for you guys as far as superpower? Accident, Ray hits you. What would work for you?
Like, what do I want?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know.
Or I should ask this: if you had either one of these powers, would you immediately use them for I guess, good?
No, not at all.
No.
I'm a terrible person. No. That's just silly talk. If I had to take one of their powers, I would definitely take Stretch Dudes. I think that would be funny. I'm a perv, so I'm immediately gonna go in the bathroom and see what else I can stretch. So I don't know, man. I every time I think about superpowers, I feel like I would end up either I want something like super deep, like I want to infect everyone with empathy to see how it affects the world, right? Or I want something really fucking stupid, like I can open anybody's garage door. Like if you have an electronic garage door open, I just want to just walk by and flip it open just to piss you off. Like not even when you're not there, just like you're outside and I'm like, haha, your garage is open. I don't know. I'm not a good person to give superpowers to.
Thomas.
I've often thought about what scenario would be great to have superpowers, and I came up with a character. It's a homeless guy, and his superpower is that anywhere he looks, he can just see loose change. So he always knows where the loose change is. It doesn't benefit him enough, but it helps him on his day-to-day thing. That's the superpower I want. I want to see loose change. Or to stretch. Stretching seems cool. I often am sitting just a little bit too far away from the remote. So
you don't kick the table?
Well, the only reason I finished this episode was because the remote was too far away.
I wouldn't doubt that.
But yeah, like you guys were saying, this episode or this particular act doesn't offer a lot, and to me, it's just one giant nerd fest, right? Where you have all of these comic book tropes and characters, and another Matt Groening cameo,
right?
Mm-hmm. The comic book guy with the lightsaber taken out of its packaging, and he has his best death ever thing. But I think it shows how far like the comic book scene has come. You look at Comic-Con now, where it's like this cool thing and all the cool kids are there. But in this episode, that convention Xena's at is like an incel convention. It's just all of these awful nerdy dudes who have no interest outside of anything that isn't related to, whatever problem they saw in an episode of Xena. So it's kind of a cool time capsule in that way, but otherwise it sucks.
Yeah, and that actually leads me into the only real commentary in this to me, which I feel like this was obviously written by people who have been on one side of the table at conventions. Like, it's not people who have gone to a panel and like really engaged with somebody they loved or like gotten to talk to their hero. It feels so jaded and so, oh, the fans are such dicks, but haha, I'm going to make you laugh at yourselves, and they just really, I don't know, like it's not exactly insulting so much as it's just disappointing. I feel like there's so much more they could have done with it, and they went for the really easy jokes.
They do that every time, though, because if you recall the episode where Homer is Poochie, and they have like a press conference with the woman who does the voice of Itchy and Scratchy, and Database has that question about, in the Itchy and Scratchy CD-ROM, how do you get past this, and this to get to level 5? And then Homer's just like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, it's the same idea where it's just condescension from the table down.
Yeah. Well, now that we all agree how much we hate this, shall we move on?
Well, yeah. So I mean, to be fair, I didn't like number 3 either. Another just terrific, terrible, stupid pun. It was called "Life's a Glitch, Then You Die," because glitch sounds like bitch, and it's about it's about the Y2K scare and the fear mongering, and it's a New Year's Eve thing, and there's Quiet Riot there, but they're actually rat, but they think they're poison. Rick James shows up because he hasn't died yet in real life. And to be fair, I don't know how this one ended because I zoned out and I got bored because there was just too many like celebrity cameos, and it was so outdated to me because Y2K was 20 years ago. And I just got bored. What did you guys think?
Were you even alive for Y2K?
Shut up. Of course I was.
But no, I agree completely. The end is the only thing I like about this episode, so I'm going to go ahead and ruin it for you. When you find out that this ship is not the best and brightest at all, but it's like heading for the sun, and it's just like Bart and Homer are excited to die rather than spend time with everyone around them. And I like that because I can fully relate to that.
I liked how their heads exploded. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, outside of that, my biggest takeaways are like there's the whole idea of like this elitist ship that's taking people places, and this has been around forever. And I like it in this because there's the second ship that kills people. What the fuck is the point of that? Like, that's just cruel. Like, you're all going to die or terrible things are going to happen to you. That's why there's the elitist ship that Lisa gets on where they get away. Everyone else is fucked. So what is this extra ship for? Like, they hate you so much that they made this other ship to fly into the sun. That's amazing level of hatred there. So I kind of admire that.
It was a variable who's not of 1999 celebrities, though.
Yeah, but they sent Tom Arnold instead of Roseanne, and I feel like that's wrong.
Was that actually Tom Arnold's voice? I was wondering when I was watching. I was like, I hope it was. I hope he can joke about himself in that way.
Probably. It seems like something he would do.
Well, the other thing that this pulls at least some of us back into, I don't want to speak for Thomas, but those of us who were legally adults at the time.
Good Lord.
No, because I went back and I was like, holy shit, I was 21 when this happened. I recall all the I guess hysteria about Y2K, and it was one of those things that people joked about, but then people were also very serious about. Hey, we got to program all these computers to make sure that they don't go back to read 1900 as opposed to 2000 because computers weren't programmed that way. They had the 2 digits. So there was all this
garbage out.
Yeah, there was all this. Financial institutions are going to shut down, and the power stations are going to just completely go into meltdown, and so there are all these fears.
PG&E does that on their own.
True. But there were all these concerns that were going on, and I remember a friend of mine and I, December 31st, 1999, we were all having Y2K parties and getting shit-faced. And we both looked at each other, and it was like a bunch of other people that were there, and we looked up in the sun, we're like, well, I'm sorry, at the sky, and after it hit midnight, because we're like, yeah, we're gonna stay up till the sun. No, we were looking up at the sky and we're like, well, now that this happened, let's go back to drinking. And so we just all went to different Y2K parties that were still taking place that night. And, eventually went home and everybody passed out and on couches and wherever they could. And you just woke up the next day and you're like, holy shit, this was stupid. People were really worried about this. But
at least you didn't fly into the sun.
Well, that's definitely a good thing that didn't happen to me. But I do like.
That's my superpower. Not flying into the sun.
Yes, anti-solar man. But even that, you got this list of all these celebrities, and I thought about this in the years that this episode was made and rewatching and the things like that, and the whole idea that I don't have to explain who any of those people are to my kid because she wouldn't care at this point. She would probably care in about another 10 years if she were to watch this again. But who would be the people that you would put on the best and brightest ship going to Mars, and then who would be the people that would go to the fucking sun?
In today's world or back in 2000? Today's world?
I don't like anybody today. So I feel like we should all.
Samara Weaving's not going to be on the Mars.
I was going to say James.
I can't trust her.
A bunch of blondes. You have to save my blonde.
Cut that. Way to go. Yeah, really, I don't even know. I'm so anti-human at this point. I'm like, you all deserve to die.
Okay, well, what animals would you put on the ship then? Damn it!
Oh well, then the cassowary, of course. And I would fill it with tigers and a bunch of lambs. I think that would go well.
Pandas. I want pandas. I don't.
Can't take my answer.
It's like those natural or those disaster movies like Deep Impact where they take the best and brightest and shove them in a mountain in Colorado or some shit. It's the same idea, right? But a ship is so much smaller.
Yeah.
They have some dumbass name like Noah's Ark. And whoever named it would not get to be on the ship because it's stupid.
That's a great opening bit right there. Oh, you named the ship? Yeah, that's stupid. And they slam the door in his face.
It would have to be Elon Musk because he's the one making it. And
no, he's just the one taking credit for it.
Oh, wait. Can I change my answer and put all the rich people on it? And then, haha, the joke's on you. There was no natural disaster.
You just tell them there was. Yeah, I like that. Well, I mean, if we're on the subject of that, I was wondering if you guys have a favorite Y2K or like computer hacking movie.
Oh my God. I think probably the one I would say is a good Y2K movie. And I think it was End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger, but
oh yeah,
that was a good one. But other than, I don't remember any other good Y2K movies.
My favorite movie of all time is a Y2K movie, and it's incredibly dated watching it now. If you weren't alive at the time, you wouldn't understand what was going on. But my favorite movie is Office Space.
Oh yeah.
And that's just Y2K computer hacking at its best.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I don't have one other than that.
I assumed yours was sword. I thought you were going to say Swordfish.
Can I go to War Games? It doesn't really count, but I really like War Games.
You're going to play movie. You're going to play Pong against the computer. Is it no Tic-Tac-Toe? Sorry.
Whichever. I'll play any game they want.
Spoilers. Yeah. Cool. I think that's enough for this episode.
This concludes another episode of the Necronomicon with James Sabata, Don Guillory, and Thomas Sexbot Brungardt.